10 questions the Sacramento Kings will need to answer this season. I got my boy Vince Verical once again to break it all down. Without further ado, guys, let's get to it. And number one, De'Aaron Fox will have to carry this team. We all know that. But what does that truly mean, Vince?
It means just continue improving on exactly what he did last season, right? We saw the scoring go up, career high. Assists go up. I believe that was also a career high. It just comes down to that shooting, and I think another big thing that not a lot of people are talking about because it's just an assumption that it's there. But things that you and I have both heard, right, is that I think leadership is going to be needing to continue to be built here during this season. I know we've seen glimpses of it, but we want to see him truly take that role as saying, hey, I'm that guy. Listen to me. I'm the leader, not only by example, but by voice. And I think that's the thing we're going to see. Jump shot and leadership, man, and continuously doing exactly what he's been doing because the skills are there. He's got the talent to be the guy for any franchise. I think it's there. I want to see right now, are you a Batman or are you a Robin? Are you a guy that leads the team or are you a guy that helps the leader? And that's what we're going to find out this season.
There it is. Are you a Batman or are you a Robin, De'Aaron Fox? I believe he has a talent to be a top 10 player in the NBA. That is how high I am, and those are the expectations that I'm putting on this man because I know he can take it. He is that gifted. Whether or not that comes to fruition, we don't know. I hope it does because if he becomes a top 10 player, that means the Kings are actually relevant once again. Let's hope for the best there. At number two, the imperfect utilization of Harrison Barnes. What does that mean, Vince? It means that will Luke Walton, the notorious Luke Walton, know how to use Harrison Barnes this season?
I mean, it kind of just depends on how you need to use, and I don't mean you as in me and you, or you as in the person I'm talking to, but just you as the person that is listening to the show, or Luke Walton. I mean, I think Harrison Barnes should definitely be used as exactly what a floor spacer, as well as someone that can get you an easy bucket in the post. I think his post work is underrated. He's a good post player. The things that he worked on, I believe it was 2 seasons ago, and you and I actually did a full podcast on how well we actually believe Harrison Barnes did with that scoop shot and keeping his arms long to draw those fouls. And not only keeping them long to draw the fouls, but to finish with those fouls and finish with his left hand. I think he needs to be used more in the offense as more than just a third option type of guy. I think he needs to be in the conversation in certain games where he can be utilized as a number 2 option. I'm not saying he's the number 2 option of this team, but I'm saying that there's games where he can be that guy, and they need to start focusing on him when he is that guy because Harrison Barnes is one of the most consistent players on this Kings team, and you have to use him that way. So I think using him as a consistent presence is what needs to be happening this season.
I can't say it any better. Question number 3, the combination of De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton. How do you see that going? Will it be a winning recipe?
If De'Aaron Fox is as strong as his videos make him out to be and his pictures are showing him to be, it can be, right? It's still small, though. Like, camera adds on pounds. It looks good during the preseason. But when the regular season starts, size matters. Pause. And I think that I just think that when it comes to guarding real point guard, shooting guard combos that are out there in this league, is quickness going to be the only thing that you're going to rely on? Is IQ the only thing you're going to be really relying on? Because what happened in certain moments in games, Leo, we saw Rashaan Holmes, their best defender on the team, get into a lot of foul trouble because he had to help bail out those guards because they kept slipping past. And that's a problem. So strength is going to matter between those two if it's going to work. IQ-wise, talent, how they use each other works great, right? Camaraderie is there. We've seen it in the videos that they keep posting all the time through Comcast. We see it. It's there. But strength and size matters. Again, pause.
That's what she said. Michael.
Pause, Zach. The combination of both Reese and Fox should be a lot better than it was last year. More chemistry, stronger. My thing is, can Tyrese take that next step and actually develop a consistent, lethal mid-range shot? If he can do that, that's going to open up so many more opportunities for this duo. I can't wait to see it.
No, I disagree.
Really?
It's not about his mid-range. It's about consistently building on that. It's just building on that floater. That float game that he has. As long as he can hit that floater, his driving kicks are gross. My favorite thing about Tyrese Haliburton is he's never standing still. He's shadowing the driver. He's moving without the ball. And on top of that, he can hit an open three. Even how unorthodox it looks, that jump shot is wet. And at practice today, he hit 20 of 22 three-pointers. The guy can shoot the basketball. I'm not worried about I don't really care about the mid-range because that mid-range, I don't think a shot from 18 feet really matters, right?
It matters in the playoffs. It definitely matters because the pain is
on this Kings on this Kings team and how they play. It doesn't matter. He's gonna get a screen right there on that high post area, and then it's either gonna be a floater because he's so smart, a scoop layup, or a dime to whoever's following him.
I agree with that.
I don't think it's a mid-range jumper. I think it's developing that floater and making sure that it's as consistent, more consistent than it was last season.
Number 4, Rashaan Holmes at the center position. What happens there? Does he take the next step? The man just got paid. Vince, will he finally be able to shoot the basketball or be allowed to shoot the basketball? I know Luke Walton talked about, well, if he stays, I'm going to let him shoot threes. Or realistically, though, my thing is, can he shoot that 18-foot jump shot? He hits free throws at a high rate. Will it translate to the mid-range shot?
Look, I mean, his little pump shot was a mid-range shot. He did that at the free throw line. He did that at the corners. He did that wherever he could. So, I mean, can he hit a mid-range shot? Yeah, it's a pump shot.
No, an actual mid-range, like he said.
He's not going to do that. It's not in his. I mean, I think if he's shooting any 3-pointers, it's going to be the same way he did it in Phoenix, and that's going to be the 2 corners, and that's going to be about it. Now, if they're really going to let a center shoot any jump shots, and I know we're going to get down to it here in these questions, it's going to be about Marvin Bagley and the evolution of Marvin Bagley, because they need to figure out what they really have with their former number 2 pick. Is this the guy? Strength has been a huge thing for him. He came out during media day and said that he put on 23 pounds, 25 pounds, or something like that. He's looking good. He looks strong. Health is a big concern. My big thing is play within the offense. It comes down. I think the development of Rashaan Holmes comes down to the development of Marvin Bagley. Because if Marvin Bagley can become that guy, I think Rashaan Holmes becomes tradable, bro. I really do. But you know me. I'm not. I think Rashaan Holmes is perfect for this team. I don't think he is the starting center of the future of this team.
Yeah, I'm not high on Marvin Bagley. He's not even in my starting 5.
I didn't say I was high on Bagley. I'm just saying that's the
no, but that's fair. That's fair. And we'll get into starting 5s. Davion Mitchell, question number 5, a defensive game changer. Is he a defensive game changer, Vince?
Hell yeah, he's a defensive game changer. That man's going to guard you full court. That man is going to make sure you can't move. I said it during draft day. It is not, I'll be honest. I know these stats right off the top of my head because I looked it up not that long ago. It's my 6th most retweeted liked tweet I've ever had on Twitter. Sacramento Kings finally got the Marcus Smart they always wanted at the number 9 spot, and it's Davion Mitchell. The man gets into you, and if you don't believe me, go watch Summer League and go see what he did to Book Night. He hurt his feelings.
He did.
So yes,
I love Book Night. I love Book Night. So, yes, Davion Mitchell will be a defensive game changer. And I didn't add this to the questions, but let's touch on it a little bit. I said this on Instagram today. Davion Mitchell, Tyrese, and Fox, I believe it will work offensively because Davion can hit that stationary shot. And if he has a live dribble, he's going to blow by you. But the question, even though his strength is defense, I'm still concerned once again, with size, with strength at the NBA level, can they work defensively?
Let me ask you this. What sounds better? And let's just say this is a lineup, right? This is just, I'm not saying it's starting, I'm just saying it's a lineup. And this ties into your question that you're bringing in right now. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton, Davion Mitchell, 1, 2, 3, however you look at it, right? Harrison Barnes, Rashaan Holmes. That's a 5, right? Versus, and this is going to be a starting 5, by the way. D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Anthony Edwards, Taurean Prince, Karl Anthony Towns. Which roster is better? Because one is a starting lineup in Minnesota. The other would
Prince is the starter on that team?
I think it might be Vanderbilt or Prince. I think they're going to find out during training camp and summer league. I think Prince makes sense. I think people underestimate Prince, but he's a good player. I think Vanderbilt's just more energy. So they might do energy. I think Prince makes a bigger impact. But yeah. Or it could even be Josh.
Okay, so you said D'Lo, Edwards.
D'Lo, Edwards, Malik Beasley, let's say Torian Prince or Jared Vanderbilt and Karl Anthony Towns.
That's not an issue for me because those aren't the lineups that I'm worried about. The lineups that I'm worried about is like when KD comes into town with Paul George, like a size difference. Right. It's easy to guard, and not easy like because Beasley's a bucket, but like size there isn't a huge concern for me at least.
Right, but what I'm saying is that 5 I listed in Minnesota, that's a projected starting 5. So when you say 3 guard lineups can't work, that's a 3 guard lineup that's going to have to work for Minnesota. And for some reason, ESPN says that's a playing game. When you go over to this side, and you got Mitchell at the 1, Hallie at the 2, and unfortunately Fox at the 3. And no, that doesn't make much sense. But I'm saying that's a 3 guard lineup that in certain scenarios as a bench presence can work. It just depends on the matchup. So do I think that it can work? Yes. Do I think the Kings should run it as a starting lineup? Absolutely not. But at the same time, we saw the Kings do it last season when it was Fox, Haliburton, and Buddy.
And that's my starting lineup this year. I'm not starting Davion right off the jump.
I'm not starting Davion either.
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
The Kings have a 3-guard lineup set. That's what they're going to have to play. They're not beating you with defense. They're beating you by trying to outscore you. And that's why the Kings have their biggest problems. And that's why I will keep saying this. And it's go after Ben Simmons full throttle off of the bag.
Yeah. No, I agree with going after Ben Simmons or say Pascal, but Pascal, I don't think he's doable. I don't see the Raptors making the move only because I love the idea of OG Siakam and Scotty Barnes. That's a 3-headed monster that is waiting to happen. I don't see them moving him, but let's move on to Marvin Bagley, which is number 6. Will Marvin Bagley take a positive step or a negative step this upcoming season?
When you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go. He's at the very bottom. He's taking a step.
That's fair. And why?
I just think that it's time. I mean, if you can't use the excuse of, if you put in the games that he's played, he's only in his second year. Yeah. You can't use, if he was healthy. You know what? If anybody was healthy.
Right. 100%.
Availability is
the best ability. It's always going to be that way.
That's what. You can't use it anymore when you're coming into a contract year for this guy. This is time. This is contract season time. This is to let us know whether or not, exactly what we talked about in a previous video with the Rockets. Are you a rock or are you sand? Are you a building block or are you a trading piece? That's where we need to know. Because honestly, the things that we hear about Marvin Bagley practice and what he's working on as a shooter, as a driver, as a post player, it sounds amazing. And the glimpses that we get when he does play as a rebounder, putback person, it looks good. But guess what? We need to see it consistently. We need to see it for at least 68 games. So
if it's hard, and I'm sure we'll touch on this right now, but let's touch on Buddy Hield, which is I had it as number 8, but let's say it's number 7. Number 7, the Buddy Hield question. What do you do with Buddy right now? Do you let's not even talk about starting him because I think we do start him, but it's what do you do with him knowing that you have Davion Mitchell, that you have TD? Obviously, we know a lot of things behind closed doors, but what do you do with him?
You play him.
Yep. I mean, yeah.
Play him. There's no way around it. Buddy Hield, as much as people there's a love-hate relationship in Sacramento with Buddy Hield, right?
We love. To me, he's an asset. Period.
No matter, shooting is an asset in this league right now, and he can shoot off the dribble into that 3. He hits that as a step back. Sometimes he dribbles a little too much, but guess what? When he shoots that ball, in my feeling, that's a wet ball. That thing is going in. It looks like he's thrown it into the ocean because it damn near never misses. Buddy Hield is a real shooter. It was like me the other day when we were hooping.
I ain't gonna lie. Vince looked great the other day.
We were shooting. So when I tell you that he needs to play, it's not just to see what you have. It's because you need him
For sure.
out there with the players that you have around you. De'Aaron Fox is a driver. He is not a shooter. He is a driving scorer, right? So you need that space. Buddy Hield would be the best player he could be is if he would stop trying to be the thing that he's not. He's
or
not
if Kings fans didn't expect him to be the thing that he's not, which Buddy's a super role player, but they want him to be a budding star because they paid him like one. But that's not his fault.
but he earned it. Joe Harris earned the same amount of money, but no one's playing because the Nets are winning.
Right.
Win games, it doesn't matter. Seth Curry is getting praised right now because he's on a valuable contract. But guess what? Buddy Hield is better.
Yeah,
Buddy Hield is better.
Joe Harris, Duncan Robinson. Joe got 18 per. Duncan got 18 or 19, I forget. Buddy got 22, 23.
You got to pay the Sacramento.
Right. And this is just context, just to clarify and bring this all back together. In Sacramento, you have to pay a little bit more, and that's the reason why. But if he was in Brooklyn or if he was in Miami, you best believe that Buddy Hield would get paid at the bare minimum $18 million a season because he's worth that. He's a prime time shooter.
Every dollar.
For sure.
My thing is never really about the money. Right? I bring money into it because it brings context, and what I'm wanting out of him is I want someone that's going to play his role correctly. Stop being a standstill, wait for the ball player. Be like Haliburton and shadow the driver. Move down. Just do a little bit extra.
But what if I told you that the coaches want him to be that? Just to sit there in the corner or just to stand there?
You don't have to tell any Kings fan that has really been watching this team that Luke Walton has been a problem for a lot of us. Luke Walton has never been the decision for many Kings fans to be the guy that stayed there. But guess what? This is a make-or-break season not only for Walton. Yep. I think it's a make-or-break season for that entire front office. I think it's a make-or-break season for a lot of people over there in Sacramento. And I think it comes down to how they handle Buddy Hield. And Buddy Hield is a real asset. He's a three-point shooting champion. He is top 5 over the last few seasons as a three-point shooter. He's improved as a scorer every year that he's been in the league. So is he great? Is Buddy Hield great? No. He's
a very good basketball player.
Very valuable piece to this team. Yeah. And he's very much needed. And as much as you guys want to talk about the defense that he has, and I'm one of them, I have been a big person on Buddy Hield's defense. I've already told you this, or we keep hitting on it. Size matters. Pause. And it comes down to stop always relying on someone to bail you out like Rashaan Holmes, because that's going to be foul trouble. But now you got Tristan Thompson. Now you got Alex Len. I guess maybe you can sacrifice a little bit more. And I think maybe that's another reason why they got size down there. Again, pause. And it also comes down to Marvin Bagley too, right? And that's why I said the development of Rashaan Holmes comes with the development of Marvin Bagley. I think all of that ties together. I think the development of Buddy Hield helps the development of all those other big men as well. So Buddy Hield is a real asset for this team. And I don't know, and he can also be a real stone piece for this team. So people that want to hate on him, I 100% get it. I'm also a hater of Buddy Hield. I think he should have been traded a while ago because of how high his value can be as a shooter. But guess what? Value of shooters don't go away. J.J. Redick stayed in this league for a very long time before retiring. Duncan Robinson, who has done nothing much but shoot, just got paid $18 million and is now not going to be considered in trades over a guy like Tyler Hero, which is crazy to me because I think Tyler Hero is a way better basketball player. So shooting has value. I think Buddy Hield is a key piece to this team being successful.
Yeah, so the next questions is preferred starting fives, record predictions, and where we differ. We can tie it all in one at this point. Where we differ, you keep talking about Marvin Bagley, which will transition to me saying what my starting lineup is, and that's Fox, Haliburton, Buddy, HB, and Holmes. That's my starting five that I'm rolling with. And I want to tie it this way because I don't think Bagley should, as of day one, be the backup. To me, the backup four is Metu. I have Metu over I have Metu over Marvin Bagley as of today. I don't care what the hype is about Marvin coming out. I know what Metu is doing, what he did for Team Nigeria, what he did in Summer League, and everything he's shown, even last season towards the end of the year. It's shown that he is that scoring backup four that the Kings need. That's who I want Marvin to be. But as of right now, he has to beat out Metu. And I know that's not the storyline or the narrative that Kings fans want to hear because Metu isn't a prime or a big name per se. But my
Yeah.
God, like Metu is right there
Yeah.
under HB. Marvin better beat him out because Metu ain't going away. The kid is hungry, and you can see it in this game. So that's how I feel about all those three questions. My starting five, once again, Fox, Haliburton, Hield, HB, and Holmes. And my backup is, Davion, TD, Harkless, Metu, and Thompson.
Yeah, no, we're not far off. But here's my thing. I think my personal opinion on what I would do if I was the coach is I have the exact same starting lineup as you. I don't think Tristan Thompson needs to be your backup. I think you
me
like.
too. Yeah.
I think you do a Bagley Metu 1-2. I think you see if Bagley's a center. Because if Bagley can play center, it changes his whole dynamic.
That's what he is. He's a center.
No, but I don't know if you remember this, bro. When he first came into the league and they drafted him, this is why I think he has so much problem behind him. Lottie Divac drafted him and said, small forward, power forward, center.
Well,
bro, that's a problem. When someone puts these expectations in people's mind, perception is expectation.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They perceived him to be a small forward. They perceived him to be a power forward. Fans put that expectation on him. All I'm expecting is a guy that gets you 12 points, 8 rebounds, and plays 68 games. I want Jason Thompson 2.0 off my bench.
He's better than JT. Like he's better than JT. But if you're the number 2 pick, you better be better than JT. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't care where you're drafted. I care about what you're producing.
That's fair. That's fair. And to tie that up full circle, Marvin Bagley needs to be your backup 5. I agree 100%. Like it's nice that Tristan Thompson is saying all the right things in practice. At media day, he's very well spoken. I get it. He's going to bring Khloe Kardashian and potentially Kim Kardashian to games, which is cool.
I'm gonna be there.
Which is cool. But Marvin Bagley needs to be the backup 5 to Rashaan Holmes. Show that he gained that weight. Stop getting punked by guards, right? Who are a lot smaller than him and literally pushing him in the paint. He needs to prove that he is a starting 5 because 3 months before he got drafted, not knowing that he was that he was going to be the number 2 pick, I said it on my video, which is all documented. He's a center in the NBA. That's what he was to me.
Look at this. If you guys think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a center, so is Marvin Bagley.
Exactly. That's
what I'm saying.
That's it.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is a center, so is Marvin Bagley. And I'm not even saying Bagley has to be a star, man. Like
he doesn't.
I just want to see that you've developed since the time you've gotten here. You know what I mean? Like I don't care where you're drafted at this point. We know what we have right now. The Kings have potential for playing. If there was any chance for the Kings to make a playoff run, I personally believe it was last season, and even more so this year with the question marks on Jamal Murray, the question marks on Kawhi Leonard, the question marks on Klay Thompson. You don't know what's going on there with those teams. Is Memphis really that good? Because they just traded away their second leading scorer in Jonas Valanciunas, so they're really believing in Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
and Steven, like you know what I mean, like. Is Ingram
Steven Adams isn't good. Like I just don't want to hear that narrative.
No. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be their starting center.
Has to be.
Is a leader backup. He's a starter for their team, but he's the backup. Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, those guys are going to get more minutes than him. So all my fantasy listeners that are listening, avoid Steven Adams. I'm putting it out there now. But like I'm saying, like with Marvin Bagley, if you can have a lineup on your bench that's Davion, Bagley, Terrence Davis, Metu, like that's 4 key players. Not only can they get you buckets, Metu has defensive potential. Davis is at least a stouty guy that doesn't get bullied around. And Davion Mitchell is a defensive stud. Who's that 5th guy? I don't know who it would be. Right. Who in your mind, who would it be? Who would be the next guard, the 2, the 3?
It has to be Mr. King.
Harkless.
Yeah, well, I have Harkless there, but I expect Louis King to take a big step forward.
The bench is going to be...
The bench is going to be Davion, TD, Harkless, Metu. Like who?
Metu. And
Who's that fifth guy? Is it Thompson or is it Bagley?
It should be Bagley.
It should be Bagley. Agree. I'm going to go with Thompson just because I have very little faith in Bagley. But I personally want it to be Bagley, and I hope it's Bagley.
I personally want the starting five to be Fox, Buddy, Buddy, and Haliburton, HB, and Holmes. But we know Bagley's starting.
He's not starting. He's not starting. No way.
Bro, they're going to start him.
This is the make it or break it year for Luke Walton. He's not going to start him. The same with Dave. This is his last year. He was like, I'm winning games. I'm starting Bielitsa. He's a better player right now. I'm going to start the guy who is a better player now.
I'm key five then. If Luke Walton plays that card and says, hey, if I'm on the hot seat, I'm playing my guys.
That's it.
You play your best five. That proved to be you won the most games. Your winning percentage and points on the floor, best five was that five that we just made.
Yep, 100%.
You bring Bagley off the bench and let him have the potential. Dude, if Bagley's off the bench with Mitchell's a playmaker. Mitchell is a willing passer.
He's not a good passer, but he's a willing passer. He's not a good passer.
No, I'm not saying he's no Haliburton. He's no Fox. You know what he is? He's a set your guy. You get in your position, and I'll get you the ball. He can pass it down to the person on the block.
He can, and he's a willing passer, and he's going to be an improving passer because he is a person who watches a ton of film and who is literally a gym rat, right? Like they're trying to kick him out of the gym, and he doesn't want to leave. Like I expect him to improve, but as of today, on September 30th, he's not that yet, but he will be that. And that's just to clarify and say, oh, Leo said no. Like Leo is saying that he is going to become a good passer. Right now, he's not. I've been on the record saying that he wasn't, and everyone knows that he's not because he showed it in sack and in summer league. He had good moments, but let's not get carried away. Like he's a good shooter and a great defender. That's it.
He's
attack the basket. He has an elite first step.
He's good at offensively.
Yeah, he is
good at a lot of things, but great at nothing. Defensively, he's amazing.
Yes, agreed. All right. Overall record predictions, I'm going to say 43-39.
I have him winning 42 games.
Wow, we're right there. We're right there.
I have him at 42 or less. I think the over-under is at 41.5, so we're both saying over.
That's interesting. 41.5. I like the over on that.
I have 42 wins.
All right.
Can I make a bold prediction here on your show?
Go ahead.
I haven't even done a podcast yet. By the way, the Kings Court podcast, rate, review, subscribe on any social media platforms at VM Center. I have the Kings making it to the play-in and still missing the playoffs, but I do have them making it to the play-in game this year.
So they're a 10 seed to you?
I think they're going to be a 9 seed.
And lose. Oof. That's going to hurt.
Yeah. It's going to be a hard game. So I think they make it 9. I think a lot of teams get healthy toward the end. You're going to see a lot of potential. I think the Kings build up a big enough lead to where they stay 10-9. I honestly feel like they're gonna sit 7 for a while and then drop. But I think that it just kind of depends on what they do. I think the trade deadline is going to be huge for them.
If they stay put, I have to admit that you're right. I feel like they'll stay there at 7.
For this though, for when we do our preview show, because I'll have you on for my preview show.
It's like you're right. Like they'll be like 7-ish, and if they stay put, they'll probably get like a 9 and lose. But if they make a move though, that could elevate them and potentially
depending on what the move is.
Right. And we're saying Siakam or Ben Simmons.
I think Ben Simmons. But honestly, if this is a Kings moment, this is probably going to be our longest video of the ones that we've done.
Yeah.
I'm saying this right now. Kings, if you haven't done it yet, now is the time. Hit a homer. Swing with all of your might and get a guy who's on a 4-year contract and has literally come out publicly, through his agent, and said, I'm willing to play for anybody else but the Sixers. You have the assets that the Sixers need to stay competitive. We just talked about it on a Sixers video not that long ago. Now is the time. And if you fall there, I think Pascal Siakam, you think he's not, I think Pascal Siakam is going to be very available. I think Scotty Barnes is going to show to be a very key piece, and him and OG Anunoby with Freddie VanVleet, and then you add a guy like a Haliburton or a Mitchell out there. I think there's a lot to be had. with Pascal Siakam in this team. But it's time to hit a home run. It's time to stop playing middle guy. And a big thing for me too is I think the front office knows. Like everyone that's there in Sacramento knows it's time or it's going to be shaken up all over again. And I don't know if Sacramento's ready for another shakeup. I think they know what they have right now, and it's time to build. Stop creating pieces. Build your pieces now. Fox is good. Haliburton, you hit it. Davion Mitchell, before he plays a game, his value is high. Buddy, we know what we got. Holmes is your center. Let's see what we can build with it now.
There it is, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy quality basketball content like podcasts, film breakdowns, and live reactions on game days, Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom provides frontline coverage of the NBA every single day. We'll see you guys on the next one.